Life's a game, the world's a stage, and we are merely role players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. I'm Matt Boothman, and I'm your compere for this main house production. Here on Merely Role Players, we improvise stories to entertain ourselves, and you, the audience at home. And we use role-playing games to keep the story going places even we can't see coming. Because as theatrical people, we're all about maximising the drama. This is the first act of our first main house production. The main house is where we stage ongoing, serial stories, with characters and plots that develop and unfold over several productions. We're opening the main house with Vigil. This is the story of the outsiders and weirdos who step up to defend their neighbours from monsters and worse, after the government cuts their town's official team of paranormal investigators. To tell this story, we're playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat. Playtime is our first Vigil production, and there will be more to come. If you're joining us for the first time, you've picked the right episode. This is the start of a brand new story, and you don't need to be caught up on anything else we've produced to get into it. In fact, every one of our productions tells a complete story, so if you enjoy this one and you want to try something else we've done, just find any episode with Act 1 in the title and you'll be able to jump in there. We'll release a new act of Playtime every other week, and to keep you going through the weeks in between, we'll release backstage episodes that give you a peek behind the scenes. So stay tuned for one of those next week. For now, though, please take your seats in the main house. Tonight's production is about to begin. Vigil, a Merely Role Players main house production. Playtime, Act 1 of 5. Let's meet the players for this first Vigil adventure.
Okay, hi, I'm Vicky. I am playing Renko, first name redacted, whose character playbook is the Flake.
I'm Ellie. I am playing Persephone Byron, the Exile.
I'm Dave. I'm playing Mick, the Mundane.
Hi, my name's Alex. I am playing Graham, the Summoned.
Very cool. Can't wait to get to know all these characters. This is the first time you, the audience, are hearing of these characters. All of us have been living with them for a few weeks or months now, so it's great that we're finally going to see them in action. Everybody excited?
Yes,
Very much so.
Really
Yes.
excited.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, before we dive into the story, there is one bit of pre-game admin that we need to do. Vicky, you have a roll that you make at the start of a mystery if you so wish.
Oh, I do. Let's do it.
What?
Yeah.
A roll before we've done anything?
I know, right? I love rolling the dice, so this was an ideal move for me.
Is this the only reason why you took this particular playbook?
Almost definitely. So this is my connect the dots move.
Yes, this is connect the dots. At the beginning of each mystery, if you look for the wider patterns that current events might be part of, roll plus sharp. Ooh. So roll plus sharp, please.
So my sharp is +2.
So we're rolling 2 six-sided dice.
That is a 6, 7, 8.
Okay,
Nice.
Hold 1. So you have a point that you can spend at any point in today's mystery to ask me various questions about things being connected to wider conspiracies and that kind of thing.
Sweet.
Wow.
I'm excited already.
So you should be.
Thank you for remembering. I would not. I would not have remembered. I had to do that.
That's my job.
Yeah. Thank goodness you're here. Okay.
Hey, none of us have played this game before.
not this exact game anyway. So there is going to be some learning, but I think we can do it. I believe in us.
We can.
Yeah, we can do this.
So, shall we begin?
Yes, please.
Let's raise the curtain on Vigil, our main house production. The rain is falling relentlessly on the town of Sheridan. It runs along the cobbles of the cobbled historic main market street, and it rustles through the leaves of the ancient rosebriar forest, and it falls on a van. On the outside of the van it says Mick's Bricks. Dave, do you want to give us any more details about the van?
Oh, it's just white.
Yeah.
But importantly, how dirty is the van?
Well, since the rain's hitting it, it's probably looking all right at the moment.
Okay.
Doesn't sound good, though.
Does it have a ladder on the roof?
Yeah, it's got a ladder on the roof, and the back is probably full of tools and stuff and paint, and it's just bumping along, I guess.
And in the cab, driving, is Mick, and in the passenger seat is Renko. Do you want to give some brief descriptions of those two people for our audience?
I've probably just come off a job, so I've got white overalls on, and I'm a human man.
What sort of age and build are we looking at?
You know, I work outside and I work with tools a lot, so pretty built, not super buff, like doesn't go to the gym, doesn't really look after himself, and probably late 30s.
Okay, and in the passenger seat, Renko?
So Renko is, in theory, a professional, but never quite manages to turn out like one. She is a woman in her sort of mid-ish 30s, mid-late 30s, wearing a suit that's definitely seen better days, a pair of sunglasses, even though it's raining, and yeah, she has a badge in her top pocket that shows her, in theory, professional status as a agent of Doom. Is this what we're...
Yeah. So the Department of Emissions, officially abbreviated the
Doom.
DO.
Yeah.
Less formally abbreviated Doom.
Doom, yes.
And Renko is navigating, because Renko knows that something is going to happen somewhere in town tonight. Not sure what, but something significant is going to happen. How do you think Renko has worked this out?
So Renko is definitely a bit of a research nut and likes to follow the sort of leads and patterns of various mysteries and to try and like connect those dots together. And I think that before she's ended up in the position to be posted in Sherrydown on this kind of furlough from the agency, she spent quite a lot of time looking through the archives there and found some documentation that just didn't quite add up. But when she was able to sort of piece those pieces together, it seemed to suggest that something was going to happen in Sherrydown on this on this day at this rough time in this rough location. So that's a mystery that someone like Renko is definitely going to investigate, and is probably also a little bit a part of the motivator for her wanting to make sure that she was going to stay in Sherrydown even though the agency was withdrawing.
Yeah, even though the rest of her unit has been disbanded. Are you just giving directions, Renko, or is there a conversation going on between Renko and Mick?
Yeah, I think Mick could be having a bit of a moan. And Ren, I mean, we could have gone... If you'd said we were just coming to the library, I could have gone on the normal roads. Why did you make me come through all the market cobbled? This van is not designed for this.
Well, I just thought that this would be the better way to get here.
Well,
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it's been... You could have just... We've come to the library quite a lot. I do know the way here. I could have just driven us here.
Yeah, well, I thought this would be the best way, and I wanted to make sure that we weren't being followed.
Okay, well, as long as the cobbles haven't ruffled your suit too much.
Rolling her eyes. Your van will be absolutely fine, Meg. Look, we're here now.
So, where is this significant event going to take place?
Yeah.
Is it somewhere public or not?
I feel like it could be the library.
Yeah?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Sheridan Library is a funny structure. The main building is pretty old, dates back to at least Victorian times, maybe older. And attached to it is this extra wing in a completely different style that is actually bigger than the main library itself. And has kind of weird gargoyles and things carved over the windows. But it's to the main building that you draw up in the Mixed Bricks van.
Do you need an umbrella? Well, actually, I've got another set of overalls in the back if you want to throw those over to get into the library so you don't get wet.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Let's just go.
So the two of you head into the library. This section of the library, where it's the main building and not the weird extra wing, looks like a kind of a modern small town library. It has lots of kind of modularly built shelves. They have lots of copies of Harry Potter and like research books for local students and that kind of thing. There's a counter where the librarian sits. They also have like newly installed electronic machines for checking out books. It has like one of those scratchy, slightly greenish carpets, wall to wall.
Where do they get those things from?
No idea.
Posters on the walls encouraging kids to read, that kind of thing. A little soft play area in one corner. And Mick and Renko enter wet from the rain. And I think Renko's intuition and research is good. And you're not in the library for very long before something happens.
Stuff shakes. There's shaking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen enough films with this sort of event to occur in there needs to be some sort of paper and debris floating around first.
Yeah.
I imagine as well that it's raining, but now there's also thunder and lightning.
Yeah. Nice.
And some of I reckon at first it seems really quiet in the library, but then some shelves just start shaking, but it's quite localised, like it's only a few sets of shelves. And the shaking intensifies, and then books start falling off of shelves, and maybe some loose papers get dislodged, and suddenly it feels like the wind is picking up somehow.
But inside the
library where all the doors and windows are shut.
And the librarian, Mrs. McGrew, gets up from behind the counter and says, "Close that door, you're letting in a draft."
Is there anyone else in the library?
I think just Mrs. McGrew at this point.
So I think my first job is going to be to try and evacuate her from the building.
Sure.
I'm going to go up to Mrs. McGrew and say, "We think the building has become unstable. Me and Mick are here to check it out, but we're going to need for you to just evacuate. If your car's in the car park, or you can pop to the cafe next door while we get this sorted. We've got it under control."
Sure, yeah, let's roll charm for that.
I got a +1 for charm.
I feel like Mrs. McGrew has seen some shit.
Oh, you bet she has. I feel like she and I are both buying into a lie to keep ourselves comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like, where she's like, it's probably not really that, and I'm like, well, obviously you know it's not really that, but...
Equally, I can't be bothered with this. It's nearly clocking off time.
Either the library staff has a really high turnover because stuff keeps going weird and people keep leaving, or it's this one woman who's just like, I'm just gonna turn a blind eye to all of the things.
I think that she's probably paid quite well, because she's probably paid
weirdly well.
Because I think she's paid by the local council, but also she gets some kind of stipend from Calisteria soft binding.
Yeah, probably.
For like managing his collection.
100%.
So, she just lets some stuff go. So I'm rolling charm, which is a +1.
Yep.
So that's not great. That's a 5 in total.
You get to mark some experience.
You do mark experience.
Yes.
Young lady.
I hate being young lady. This is not gonna go well.
Young lady, I was not born yesterday. I can see that something else is going on and structurally unsound. Goodness. You can't come in here with young Mick and tell me that the place is unstable. And she's basically just going to, tie you up at the reception desk, haranguing you while this continues to happen behind you.
I'm going to run back to the van, grab my sledgehammer and just run straight in towards wherever the most vibration's happening.
Okay.
Ren, stay there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I've got this.
Oh, good grief.
We've got lightning, we've got wind, we've got shelves rattling and nearly falling over. How does the situation come to a head?
4 big bookcases just collapse in on each other and create a pile of books. And it just all stops shuddering.
The storm seems to break. You can still hear it raining outside, but the thunder and lightning dissipates. The library, in fact, becomes slightly brighter as the sun comes through the clouds a little. And there is only the sound of Mrs. McGrew haranguing Renko and the sound of the rustling sound of books in the pile slightly shifting here and there.
Gosh, Rebecca, Mrs. McGrew, don't worry about it. It's just those bookcases have fallen down. You know, if you're gonna get shoddy workmen in to do your bookcases, I'll do them next time. These are old ones, and I'll start shifting through them, trying to put them back up.
We couldn't afford you, Mick.
Mick's so pricey.
He's in demand, you know.
So yeah,
Well, I'll come in for a quote to fix this, but I'll put them upright for you. Don't worry.
So Mick starts to push bookcases back upright again.
Mm-hmm.
The books start moving, and there's clearly a person beneath the pile of books.
Yeah, I think I'm going to turn and draw my weapon and level it on the pile. Because I don't know I have an idea, but better safe than sorry.
Yep. So I, Percy, am fighting my way through the books to get to fresh air and a standing position.
So what do Mick, Renko and Mrs. McGrew see? Who do they see emerging from the books?
They see a now slightly dishevelled woman. They don't know this yet, but I'm 30 years old. With long dark hair pulled back in a bun and a long dark gown on, essentially, with striking blue eyes and a tense mouth and a heavy frown and a bow and arrow.
What?
Correct.
Why didn't you say you had someone else in here? This actor's doing some stage reading of
Mick,
Dickens
will you
or
be
something.
quiet for 1 minute?
Dickens.
I think Renko just keeps the gun trained on this new person and says, lower the weapon, put it on the ground, and identify yourself.
Lower your weapon, put your weapon on the ground and identify yourself.
And I'm going to say, this is our library in our town. Just tell us who you are and everything's going to be fine.
I assume this is Sheridan.
Correct.
Then this is my town. It appears we're at an impasse.
Persephone.
Yes.
It is becoming rapidly clear to you that this is not the year 1666 as planned. What's going through your head?
Oh, I'm panicking. Mm-hmm. And I think while I'm saying all of these things, I am looking fairly wildly around, trying to take in as much information as possible about where I am and who these people might be. And also assessing, routes of escape.
You can recognise some familiar objects, books look like books, but, the covers look strange and more colourful than you're used to, and where are the leather boards and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously, all the posters and everything look very strange. The electronic equipment for checking out books you do not recognise at all. Mm-hmm. Although with your engineering mind, you can potentially sort of start to try and work it out. But lots of unfamiliar things, and somebody pointing something at you that is sort of the shape of a gun, but doesn't look like any gun that you've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, and a man with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Pushing up shelves.
I think I can tell by the roof that it's the library, because that won't have changed.
That's recognisable.
So I now know I'm in Sheridan Library.
I think Mrs. McGrew diffuses the situation by
nice.
getting in between the two weapon and brandishing women. Put those down, both of you. Quiet in the library for a start.
First things first.
I knew you'd get in trouble for that.
Young lady, are you all right?
Yes, thank you. I am. And I lower my bow.
Yeah, and I'll put my gun up and just slowly put it back in its holster and just leave my hand close by, but
I'm going to
de-escalating.
accidentally knock one of the bookcases over whilst I'm about to make a huge crash
Perfect.
to break the tension. Sorry. I'll come over now. Right, I'm coming over. Who are you? Have you told us your name?
Would one of you be so kind as to tell me today's date?
It is not the year you were hoping.
Yes, okay. I don't say okay. Yes. Good.
It doesn't seem good. What year did you think it was?
Okay, I just start pacing and muttering.
Mick, why don't you just take Mrs. McGrew over there to just take a look at those shelves that look a little bit unstable, and maybe you can give her a quote for the work.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to give a quote for the work. Come on over here, Mrs. McGrew. Let's go and look at the other shelves. Have you got any other unstable? I'm going to go and shake all of your shelves. Is it okay? Do you want to come and watch me shake your shelves?
I know when I'm being pulled out of the way, young Mick. I'm coming.
If I've overshot them, because we should go back, but if we go back, then I'm not sure we can actually fix it. So there's going to be Ada will be absolutely going with that. I don't understand what
Okay,
but the world's still here, so if the world's still here.
let's start again.
Sorry?
Let's start fresh.
Yes?
The fact that you've asked me what year it is suggests to me that you were not in this year when you began your journey.
That is accurate. It's good to meet an intelligent person who will no doubt be able to help me fix this up quick smart, no problem.
Yeah. What year have you come from?
Well, before I disclose further information, I need to know your affiliations.
I work for an organisation that handles situations like this. So I think I would be able to help. And I show Percy the badge.
I grab the badge and trace my fingers along it. Ah, perfect. Good. Maybe the plan hasn't gone so wrong after all. After all, the world's still here, isn't it? Yes, good.
Now that's not concerning at all.
All fine.
Yeah.
Right, well, I've come from the year 1852 and wasn't aiming for this area at all. Was actually aiming for the 1600s. So...
Oh, that's quite the detour.
Yes, well, there's quite a lot going on. And we weren't quite ready for a trip, but here we are anyway. And I need to, I suppose, work out how to get back, because this is, yes, I need to do some calculations.
Okay. You know what? Let's get you somewhere safe and get you a hot drink and maybe some regular clothes from the current era, and then see where we're at. How does that sound?
Replace that hot drink with a cold, strong one, and you have a deal.
All right, lovies. It's Matt, your compere, just taking the chance to say hi to you all in the interval. Check you're enjoying the show, refill your gin and tonic, that sort of thing. If you've joined us before, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us while we were closed. I hope you like what we've done with the place. We've actually been working on our grand reopening since around March. The last thing I did before going into the UK's first coronavirus lockdown was have a big whole company video call to work out what we wanted the podcast to be from this point on. So you may have been waiting a few weeks, but we've been waiting months to share this with you. Halloween felt like the right time for it, though. It's right for the kind of story Vigil is, plus we needed a few weeks off the stage to get things ready. Plus, it was around Halloween when we first launched Merely Roleplayers 3 years ago in 2017. You could say the omens were auspicious. Speaking of auspicious timing, Merely Roleplayers is nominated for an Audioverse Award, and you have until this Friday, the 30th of October, to vote us onto the final ballot. This has been a big year for us. We spent our first 3 years sort of throwing balls in the air, and then in Deja Vu, our last production before the break, we tried to catch as many of those balls as we could, and I think we caught more than anybody could have expected us to. So if you liked any of the productions before Deja Vu, when we were chucking balls at our future selves, or if you enjoyed us flailing and getting bonked on the head by falling balls in Deja Vu itself, it'd be just lovely if you could go to audioverseawards.net before Friday and give us your vote. Right now, there's a long list of nominees in each category, and the 10 that get the most votes in each category go through to the final round. So give yourself 10 or 15 minutes. You'll have to pick your top 10 favourites in every award category. It's a bit involved, which means we're extra appreciative of anyone who makes the effort. You'll find us under Improvised Production. Now, before I go cool beginners for this next scene, Sherrydown Town Council has asked me to read a brief message. Sherrydown is twinned with Whispering Pines, the not-so-ordinary summer camp, for those hazy days and chilled summer nights. Campers laughing, fireflies glowing, campfires crackling long into the night, and a gaunt, cruel monstrosity forever hiding just out of sight, always asking, "What do you do next?" You can find out more about Whispering Pines and meet some of its eccentric camp counsellors in the upcoming Sleepaway one-shot on What Am I Rolling, a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast, available on the What Am I Rolling website and wherever you find podcasts. Thank you. Now, please take your seats once again in the main house as we raise the curtain on Vigil, Playtime, Act 1 of 5.
I would like to shift the scene to a little, maybe a couple of weeks after that. Alex, why don't you tell us where does Graham conduct his business?
Mostly in front of a computer that he's basically been given a desk. It's in a corner, slightly removed from everyone, just off slightly where people don't have to look at him so much. So you'll most likely find him at his computer, working up a storm on Excel, doing all sorts of really cool stuff on Excel.
Getting Excel to do things that it's not designed to do.
Oh, absolutely, but it still works. It still works, but it's slightly off-kilter Excel shenanigans.
Can you describe this person sitting at this computer and potentially describe his noticeably fancy and nice office chair as well?
It's a lovely office chair. It's completely compliant with any sort of DSE sort of regulations, which means it's got an adjustable lumbar, adjustable armrests. He hasn't got a footrest because he's relatively tall, so he doesn't need that. But the person occupying this lovely chair, which
some of the people in the office jokingly refer to as Graham's throne.
As only I ever really sit in it. It's got a slightly more ornate look to the most other office chairs,
and it's specifically adjusted for you. So
and it's specifically adjusted.
No one else
to
can
me.
sit in it.
Yeah, otherwise it would be completely redundant. So the person that you see sitting in the chair is of slightly above average height, aging but also slightly ageless. You look at him and go, possibly elderly? Not sure. But very dapperly dressed, wearing shirt, waistcoat, trousers, no shoes, shirt garters, always got a very sort of fancy looking cigarette on the go. But as been explained before, no one ever really sees him light them or deposit the ash anywhere. So no one's really understood what's going on regarding that.
And everyone's just too polite to say, you're not allowed to smoke in the office.
Because they don't ever really stink up the place. They just seem to sort of exist in and around his sort of general environment. And that's who you see. He's also always got a straw boater just about his person. Never wears it, but it's either attached by a small carabiner to his belt, or just on the back of his chair / throne, or on his desk.
Wow.
Like an ornament.
Sure.
A portable ornament. He also wears a lovely tie as well that's held in place with a little tie clip. So quite sort of very well turned out sort of gentleman, as long as you look at him straight on.
Trying to look at him straight on right now, Mick is sitting across from Graham, getting the report of how his taxes are looking this year.
Well, I've done very well, haven't I?
I think you've done slightly.
I've done better than all right.
You've done okay. Some of the things that you've tried to claim tax back on are mildly baffling. You are aware that all people need to eat, so you can't just claiming those sandwiches.
But when I'm on the job, that's working, isn't it? So
Well, everyone, I'm told, needs to eat. So, and as a human, then you also need to eat. So you're not allowed to claim for food.
now, what if we called it something different?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like we call it like a sustenance pouch that I have to have every day.
Sustenance pouch. Would that be in any way related to the work that you do? Is it something that's specific to being a painter, decorator, bricklayer, all-round sort of...
I think it's fair to say I couldn't do my work if I didn't have the sustenance pouch.
Right. Jesus. What about other people in your industry? Do they have a similar sustenance pouch?
Probably. I don't know if they claim it on their expenses though. I might have to... I'll chat to my mates and find out what's going on.
I might need to do a bit of digging myself as well. But certainly, yes, you can claim all the petrol that you've used for your van. That's absolutely fine.
I think as this conversation is happening, Mick is sort of leaping backwards and forwards through all the printouts that Graham's given him of this tax paperwork. And Mick, there's just something about the paperwork that is just weird.
You seem to be looking a little bit confused there, Mick.
Well, the old guy used to just give me a list. It was just a list of things and then numbers next to them. This thing is very decorative for taxes.
Ah, I see. Is it the fact that it's circular?
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Right.
I haven't seen papers. Okay. What printer do you use?
I use a printer. Certainly, yes. The printer I use is completely normal in every way. It just happens to work better for me in a circular way.
Like a clock, it makes sense. Like,
yes, it is like a clock.
Time is like a circle.
It is, and so are taxes.
Right.
Death and taxes. There's the circle of taxes.
Now, who do we give these to, Graham? Because I don't think anyone's going to accept these when we hand them in.
You'd be surprised. Mick, your phone rings.
Hello? Mick's Bricks. You want bricks? I'm Mick.
Mick, it's Sandy.
Oh, hi Sandy. You sound quite tense. Are you okay?
Yeah. I don't think it's... Are you busy at the moment?
No, I'm just looking at my taxes. I could do with a break, actually. What do you need?
Do you mind just hopping in your van, heading over to the school and picking up Pippa?
Yeah, no problem. It's not normal time to be picking someone up, is that?
No, I got a very hurried call from Mr. Longridge at the school, the head of safeguarding, saying something's happened in Pippa's class, and they're calling all of the parents to try and take the children home. But I'm still at work and I can't get off. And Joe's out of town.
Okay, yeah, no worries, Sandy. Leave it with me. I'll just give you a text when I've got it.
Thank you. ASAP, please.
Yeah, okay. I'll head now, and I'll put the phone down and tell Graham I'm off. Graham, I'm going to take this printout with me to have a look over. You get on it with the sandwiches situation, and I'll chat to my friends, and I'll see you soon.
Quick question. Was that Sandy?
That was Sandy.
That was one of your siblings?
Yes, my sister.
Right. Great. And how many siblings is that you've got in total?
2.
You've got 2, is it? And that's Sandy and the other one's
Craig.
Sandy and Craig, yes, perfect. Say hi to Sandy.
You do
me.
Craig's taxes as well. You do know Craig.
Yes, I struggle with names.
And
but
they are
yes.
hard, I get it. All right, Graham. Lovely as always.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Oh boy.
And I'm going to walk out backwards through the door, holding my circular printout.
Bye, Mick.
What do you think Renko and Percy are up to? Are you together?
I wonder if we'd have spent quite a lot of time poring over some of like the historical records, because if we were considering trying to find a way to get you back to where you came from, we probably would have spent some time trying to figure out if the machine still exists, what happened to it, what happened after you left, and like I obviously managed to piece together some information to figure out that you were going to arrive, so I probably would be sharing that information with you at this point, and that probably is in the archives that we have.
You've been in this time for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
You've sort of had enough time to get used to the fact that it definitely is 20.
That's right.
Yeah.
And to get at least some of the lie of the land. So you're doing sort of library research?
Yeah, I think so.
You
And
introduced Persephone to the internet yet?
yeah. Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah, I reckon I pick up computers pretty quick.
Yeah, you would. You have the. This is the fruition of a dream that your half sister had about how the world could be. Right, like it's incredible to see it fully formed and functional. Pretty just at a table with lots of books and a computer and everything else.
And Mrs. McGrew is at the desk as usual, and also bustling around the library is Polly Holt, who is a local student who volunteers at the library as part of a qualification that she's working towards, and sometimes helps out Renko and Co. as a kind of research assistant type person.
Okay. Right, that's good to know. Oh, hey, this is interesting. Mm-hmm. So I think I found something. These are some records from like a few years after, and it's not a lead on the psychic, but I'm seeing a family surname related to like Byrons and Lovelace popping up over and over again. And then at this point, if you look at those, you were looking at some marriage records, I think.
Yes.
I think I've seen it somewhere before.
Okay. What year?
Could you look at the year 1978?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. See, I'm seeing that surname here.
Yes.
A woman.
Yes.
Marrying a man who's got my...
That's your surname.
That's my surname. That is my mum and dad. That's my mum and dad.
Am I missing something? Did you just want to look up your parents' marriage record?
No. I think there's a connection here between your family and my family.
No,
I think there is.
Fun.
I think there is. We need to do some other checks to confirm it, but I think we might be related.
Oh well, as they say, it is a small world.
Well, especially if you never leave town.
Well, I mean, I'm not actually from this town, so I would take no blame for this. Well, I mean, it's nice. It doesn't really mean anything, though, does it? Does it?
I don't know.
That might mean something.
Maybe.
Do you have any documents that your family have asked you to keep hold of that you haven't, for some reason until now, mentioned?
Well, I've got a few different bits and pieces. I've got a slightly complicated family history because there are quite a lot of questions that are unanswered, and I've been looking for those answers for quite a long time since I was a teenager, really. So,
well, I can certainly sympathise on having a complicated family background.
Yeah. You've had a real good news, bad news situation, because good news, the world was not destroyed as you thought it might be. Bad news, your beloved half-sister, Ada Lovelace, died the day after you left 1852.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Which is potentially why we can't find anything like clues and whatnot, because she didn't have time to leave any, maybe.
Yeah. So, I think hopefully more research, we uncover some more missing pieces to this puzzle. But what I'm seeing here, I think we might be related.
Even if there's no like immediate outcome from it definitely feeds into Renko's general feeling of everything's connected, and definitely validates your decision to like go to that place at that time. Like, it just makes you feel like, yes, I was really on the right track with that.
Yeah, and I think I have my whole life been following a very specific thread, and now, like, some other threads are starting to feed into that as well. I'm starting to wonder if there is, like, an even broader connection that I hadn't seen before.
Well, terribly complicated. We should work out exactly what that relationship is, shouldn't we?
Yeah, let's get the post-it notes.
Sherrydown Primary School is it has a 2-story brick main building, which is kind of the original building, and then out the back of it is this sprawl of 1-story buildings that some of them are properly put up and some of them are like temporary buildings that have never been taken down. There's a concrete quad, there's a football field at the back. Mick, as soon as you get to the school and kind of check in at the reception, you're hustled through the main building and out into the sprawl of one-stories and into a classroom where your niece Pippa's class, or about half of the class are, you're sort of stopped in the corridor by Harold Longridge, the head of safeguarding at Sherrydown Primary, who is a slightly below average height man with really good hair and like a big bushy well-kept beard as well. The whole mane, he looks a bit lion-like with a mane of chestnut hair. Mick, you here for Pippa?
Yeah, that's right, sir. Sandy just gave me a call. She told me just come and pick her up as quick as I could, so I've just driven over and they just put me straight into the classroom.
Good. Yes, all the children are a little bit excitable at the moment, but yes. So we thought it was best to get them all sent home. They've had a bit of an experience, it seems. We're still trying to work out exactly what.
Yeah, I mean, kids get excited all the time. It's odd for you to have called us to come and take them home. What's happened?
Why don't you roll investigate a mystery? So roll plus sharp, I believe that is.
I'm not very sharp, but I've rolled a 12.
Oh, first 12.
Very nice.
Nicely done.
All right, so there's a list of questions under investigate a mystery. You are going to get to ask 2.
So I mean, my first question kind of still stands, like what happened?
You know Mr. Spencer. And yes, Mick, you do know Mr. Spencer. He's a long-serving teacher here at Sherrydown Primary, known as a bit of a disciplinarian, doesn't have much time for kids' games, which is a great attitude for somebody who works in a primary school.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Spencer is missing. We're not quite sure under what circumstances, and the newly qualified teacher that he was mentoring, Wendy, she's in the hospital, and whatever it was that happened in front of the class at Playtime. But they were the only witnesses, and they're all their stories are a little bit muddled, and we're still trying to get to the bottom of exactly what happened. But the basics of it are, yes, Mr. Spencer has disappeared, and Wendy is injured and in the hospital, and it happened in front of the children.
At Playtime outside, or in? Oh no,
it's
wet place.
Still raining. It's just down. This rain. The children have been stuck inside. Every Playtime for the last 2 weeks has been inside in the classroom, and so yes, they were there for Playtime, and everybody heard. First, all of the children scream or shriek something, and then heard Wendy scream, and they found Wendy in the corridor. And but Mr. Spencer was nowhere to be seen. There was just there was a great deal of blood on the carpet in the classroom, and we're not sure how much of it is Wendy's, and how much of it might have been Mr. Spencer's, or we just don't know what happened.
Okay, well, it sounds like I need to pick Pippa up. She's probably going to be quite upset. So if you let me just jump in and grab her, that'd be great.
Please, yes. That's why we activated the phone tree.
So I guess I go into the classroom and take Pippa out and give her a big hug.
Yep. What's your niece Pippa like?
Quite quiet. Nice.
Sure. Yeah,
not like a tear awake.
This is a class of roughly 6-year-olds.
Yeah. So yeah, just kind of gets on with what she's told. Doesn't really cause problems.
Yeah. When you go into the classroom to pick her up, all of the kids are quite subdued. They're all kind of sitting on the tables and on the chairs and dangling their legs, and some of them are sort of talking in, whispering to each other in little groups. There's a couple of teachers in there taking care of them. Pippa is on her own, sitting on the edge of a desk.
I'll wander over and pick her up and give her a cuddle. Hey, Pip, how you doing?
It was scary.
Yeah, your teacher hasn't told me much about what happened, but it's going to be all right now. You know, I'm here. We'll get you home.
Thanks, Uncle
Do you want to
Mick.
come and have a ride in the van? I know you like the van.
Yeah. In the front.
Yeah, you can go in the front. If you want, you can go in the back and rattle around with the paint as well. I know you enjoy doing that.
Kids love getting to go in the van.
If you don't mind, Pip, on the way, can you just try and tell me what you saw?
I'll try.
So Pip, I know it's probably pretty scary, but what can you tell me what you saw?
Yeah.
All I know is that one of your teachers has disappeared.
Mr. Spencer came in while we were playing a game and started shouting at us, and we all shouted at him as well because he wasn't playing the game, and then he got ate by a shark.
In the game?
Yeah.
In the game he got ate by a shark?
Yeah, and really.
This has been Vigil, a main house production from Merely Roleplayers. It stars Dave as Mick, Vicky as Renko, Ellie Pitkin as Persephone Byron, and Alex Pankhurst as Graham. Sound design for this production is by Natalie Winter, and the theme music is by Alex Pankhurst. I'm Matt Boothman, and I play the supporting cast, as well as editing and producing this episode. We were playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat Productions. You can find Monster of the Week at genericgames.co.nz. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on.